Hello and welcome to Live Relationship Advice with Shane and Elaine. We've changed up the show a little bit. Elaine Burnham has agreed to do the show with me, bounce all ideas off of each other, and this is going to be great. Elaine, if you'd like to say hello.
Hello, everybody.
There she is. So, Elaine, right there live. So, welcome, Elaine. Coming to you straight out of Texas. We will be here for the next 3 hours, hopefully. Elaine may be leaving at 1, but we'll see. Taking your questions and comments by chat and call-in. Tonight's topic is the danger of the malignant narcissist, part 3. This is the final episode in the series. We will go inside the mind of the beast and determine what makes them do the horrible things they do. Find out if you're in a relationship with a malignant narcissist, how to leave the relationship and escape the abuse. We'll take a short break and allow those who want to participate in the live chat to join in. Also, those who want to call in may call the show at 903-956-0055. Outside the U.S., just add 1 to that, 903-956-0055. Don't turn the dial. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Hey, and we are back, um, and ready to begin the show. Um, for those of you that are just catching this third part, the last part, by the way, um, we will be discussing what drives the narcissist, especially the malignant narcissist. And hey, Randy, um, and when I say malignant, that's a term that psychiatrists and psychologists, counselors have given the worst of the worst in the narcissistic personality disorder. Um, and luckily, there's it's not as common as the garden variety narcissist, which is bad enough, but the malignant narcissist is they're they destroy. They're like a cancer, and Lane, I think that you would agree with that. They're very much like a cancer. Uh,
Power off.
oh, okay. Well, we will try something else. Sorry about that. Anyway, that's just it's they destroy much like cancer destroys the human body, but they destroy everything. Life, and it's just one thing right after another, um, and they have no limits, and they're never satisfied. It's just it's just an onslaught of horrible. Just it's tragic and very dangerous with a malignant narcissist. Very much so, because they have no conscience. They're capable of anything, and they will do anything to keep them their mask on. So just and here is Elaine. Hello, Elaine. Can you hear me? Hey. Okay, good. All right. Great. Okay. And, okay, can everybody hear Elaine on the line? Great. Got you back. Okay. Um, yes, happy birthday, Alfredo. Um, no problem, Randy. I hope y'all had a great time. But anyway, um, yes, we were talking about how the narcissist is malignant. Okay, you can't hear her. Wow. Well, okay. All right. Elaine, what?
Yeah.
Say something now. Okay. What about now?
Hello?
Say something else, please.
Happy birthday, Alfredo.
Okay. I think you can hear her now. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, they can hear you now. They should be able to.
Okay.
But great. All right, we're ready to rock and roll. We will be talking about what drives the narcissist, the narcissistic subtype, all the types of the narcissist, the malignant narcissist, and how to recognize it, with the disturbing link between narcissism and sadism. Sadism is where the individual, the narcissist, not only are they selfish to an astonishing degree. Okay, she's very loud. All right. Okay, I will turn her down. Okay, and not not only are they selfish to an astonishing degree, an unbelievable degree, but they are very very dangerous because they enjoy inflicting pain, emotional pain, physical pain, uh, psychological, mental, every aspect of pain that you can imagine. They enjoy it. They take glee in seeing you hurt or seeing other people hurt, and knowing that they're the ones that accomplish that. Oh, Mona is killing me. She says, she messaged me. She says, "You're too quiet. We can hear Elaine." So I turned it up. She says, "Well, you're too loud now." So, so I love you, Mona. But anyway, I will fine tune it for Mona. Okay.
Love you, sis.
we're we're already like an old married couple. I mean, already. So, except I'm not old. I'm nearing nifty 50, so can't say that I'm old. Elaine and I, well, I'm not going to say anything. Anyway, but for those of you that are just catching up, narcissism is a broad term used to refer to a common personality trait, also known as a clinical disorder known as the narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, a severe and pervasive personality style that underlies an individual's entire approach to everyone in the world around him or her. And with this that I'm reading, it's by Psychology Today. They actually refer to it now as a common personality trait. So it's really, really startling when you check and you do the study, the research on how this has increased the the narcissistic personality disorder, which, by the way, it's incurable. There's no way to treat it. There's no psychotherapy. There's no medication for it. Basically, a person that has it, it's I guess you could say, Elaine, that it's like a terminal diagnosis of the mind. There's no hope. I mean, those of you that may be in a narcissistic. Hey, Jacob, glad you joined us, brother. Those of you that think that you may be in a relationship with a narcissist, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but if you're hoping that by staying with that person that they'll change, you're right. But the change is going to be worse. They're going to get worse. They're not going to get better. So anyway,
If I could interject.
Sure, go ahead.
They start out sweet, kind, caring. They're almost dream-like. Pinch myself. I think I'm in a dream with this person. Kind of like your Prince Charming, your knight in shining armor, your princess, your queen. I mean, they're just so full of love and everything. And then once they chase you, then once they get you, and they get their hooks in you, then it's almost impossible to escape them. And like Shane said, it'll only escalate. It'll get worse and worse and worse. First, you're going with Nat out on a town, and then all of a sudden, personally speaking, then all of a sudden I had a PI follow me because he thought I was cheating on him.
Oh, man.
Because my son was moving in his things over here because they were in between apartments. It's insane.
Had a private investigator follow you, and you're just dating this guy, right?
I had already broken up with him.
Oh, what's even worse. But
Yeah,
but
which
but you
right.
you
But it,
you you know never promised him that you were going to marry him or anything, did you? I mean, it wasn't anything like.
no.
Yeah. See, that's the problem. That's is these people live in a fantasy world. This guy
Mhm.
was obviously thinking, hey, he, correct me if I'm wrong, but he was thinking for you,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
that's exactly.
Exactly, Jacob. He was a sheep in wolf's clothing. And for me, it was so incredibly difficult to identify that he was actually a narcissist, versus a controlling person. I mean,
Hmm.
there's a difference between someone being dominant, and he owned two companies. So his natural disposition was to be dominant, was
Hmm.
a take charge kind of guy. And I thought at first that it was just that. But then as I'm talking to Mona, as I'm talking to Shane, this is what's going on, da da da. Then they were opening my eyes up to narcissistic behavior, and I had never even heard of it before him.
Hmm.
And then I started going online, reading things online. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm with a narcissist.
Hmm.
And everything that he had done before that, everything was true,
That's
like almost textbook.
right, exactly, and that's the key word, textbook, because, like I said last night, like I said night before last, it is. I'm sorry, but I don't even consider them human beings because it is almost like they are. Yes, they appear to be human beings, but it's almost like they are aliens or something because they all have the characteristic, same characteristics, the same behaviors. And when I talk to someone, when someone calls me or someone messages me and says, "Hey, I'm going through this. What could it be?" It's always the same thing. It never deviates. And I'm like, "Well, is this going on? Is this going on?" They said, um, "How do you do that? I mean, how do you know that? I mean, and I'm like, well, that's textbook. They don't, they, they have a certain, it's almost like that they have a creed or a list of things that they follow and they don't deviate from it. So they're all the same. It's like a hive mentality. And they are they are like they're like vampires. They they suck. They not only suck your blood, but well, they don't suck your blood, hopefully, but they suck your life force. They suck your will. They suck your hopes and dreams, and they feed off of it. Yes, energy vampires. Thank you, Jacob.
Hmm.
Yes, and yes, this guy hiring a private investigator after they broke up, they were just dating. I mean, so imagine the hell, Elaine, if you had married this guy.
Oh, I know. And his aspect was, well, how are you going to correct my feeling of you cheating on me? And if anybody knows me, they know I'm fiercely loyal to the person that I'm seeing at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I was like, what? I thought I was being a good girl. I thought that I was being a good partner in a relationship while the relationship was going on. And checking in, because we all check in with our partner.
Mm-hmm.
And we all say, hey, I'm going home. I'll text you, call you whenever I get home, da-da-da, or whatever. And then it just, all of a sudden, it was like, well, where are you going? What are you doing? Can you take a picture? Can you, and
That
being somewhat submissive with the partner that I'm with, it's like I was just obeying. I was just being a
that
good girl.
that is absolutely insane. That's asinine.
Right.
He she told him where she was, and
Yeah.
this man that is supposed to be dominant,
Right.
and I just want to say something here. Being you know, being dominant does not mean being a jerk. It it
Correct.
means it means you take care of business. You meet your with a man, because I mean, let's face it, men. There are more narcissistic men, much more narcissistic men than there are female narcissists. So when I refer to the narcissist as a man, I'm also including women, but they're not so. It's a very low number, but still, um, when for those of you listening that aren't taking part in the chat and listening to the rebroadcast, please take note of this. When and if the person you're with asks you or demands that you take a picture to prove that you're where you say you are, run. That is a red flag, and it is a
Yes.
warning sign that you are in danger, because someone that does that, they they are very possessive. They are very vindictive. Well, they're narcissist. Look it up. They are malignant narcissist, and there's a difference, but both are bad. Look it up, and you'll see that most murders, crimes of passion, if you want to call it that, they used to call it temporary insanity. No, it's not temporary. I mean, these people are the, way off the scale. I mean, um,
Oh,
and
definitely.
and this
'Cause-
this is a guy she was just dating. I mean, and if you had have married this guy, you would have been signing a deal with the devil.
oh,
It's,
absolutely.
mm,
I mean, I would tell him, well, I'm with my children. Well, how do I know you're with your children? Well, I'm telling you I'm with my children. Well, can you take a selfie with your children and hold up two fingers and send it to me?
oh
And I'm like, what? You know?
yeah.
And it's just, it's
I,
at that moment,
personally,
I
I
was
would
like,
hold
I
up
can't
one
do this
finger.
anymore. Huh?
I said, in that case, I would hold up one finger, and
Yeah, I know.
he would hear click, and
Yeah.
but the problem is that there is an increasing amount of men, okay, that and I don't know. I mean, maybe you can help me. You in the chat, Lane. Um, Maybe you can help me, because I believe that that the children from the '80s and that were born during the '80s and '90s, this this is like the silent uh, epidemic, and it's becoming worse and worse. Uh, there's there's this wrong belief that men have, that to be a man, to be to take care of business, you have to be a jerk, and it's okay to be abusive, and to you know to to take charge of your woman, which, by the way, she's not your woman. She's not property, and they they see that all that macho BS, and really, they were predisposed to that to begin with, but their fathers are probably the same way. I mean, it's something that is enforced, that is reinforced, and that's just passed down, and um, it's but now it has spread so far that so much that most men, and I've talked to a lot of them, they didn't know that I was like an inside spy or whatever, and so I'm talking to them, and they're bragging about, well, I did this and that to her, and I'm not kidding. I mean, this is the truth. And it was so hard not to just blow up, but I wanted to learn more. And like I said, we're going to go into the mind of the malignant narcissist. This guy told me, he said, I broke her nose. He said, in the garage. He said, I knocked her across the garage. And he said, it was so funny when she crawled back to me. And I'm like, oh. And of course I couldn't let my guard down because he was confiding in me, which the narcissist very rarely takes their mask off. Well, he had his mask off. And so I wasn't going to ruin it, but it was sickening. I mean, this guy was really taking joy and glee, and he was so proud, and he was laughing, and he said, yeah, she had a bloody face, and he said she crawled back to me, and he says, and I'm thinking, what else can I do to her? No kidding. So
Yeah, that's just horrible.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying from the rooftops is if you're with someone that meets these traits, that has these traits, you're not just with a controlling person. You are with a monster. You are with the beast, and they will consume you. um,
What was the most frightening part for me was after we had already ended things. And when my son, Britton, came into my house and said, hey, Mom, there's a guy on the parking lot in a car, and he keeps watching me. And then there's also a guy there's a gate right next to my garage.
mm-hmm.
And he's like, there's another guy in a gate too. And, they were part of both of them were of an ethnic descent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not normal in this area. And that disturbed me as well. And then he called me on the phone, and he said, from a different number, and I answered, and I said, hello. And then I realized it was him, and he said, who's moving into your house, and described what my son had on.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, I carry, and so I grabbed my gun, and I went out in the garage, and I looked around, and I didn't see the person in the gated area. And I asked my son, I said, well, where is he? And he said, well, that guy left. He said, but the other car is pulling off right now. And I was like, oh, great. Tried to get a license plate number and couldn't get it. But I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it.
Oh, man, it is, they do things that are literally unbelievable. I mean, hey, Nazreen, but what this is no lie. There have been cases with the malignant narcissist where they have been dating a woman, and women dating men, but listen to this. This is so creepy, and it's very, very similar to what this guy did to you, Elaine. But your children are grown, okay? Thank God. I mean, but they're
son, my middle son, he was almost 25 now.
Yes. So, but there have been men that have dated women and vice versa, but not as much. When they break up or they have problems, or they suspect that that the person they're dating might be seeing someone else. They have even taken pictures of their children on the playground at school and mailed them to the people or emailed them to the people, and just saying, hey, I saw Johnny today, or I saw, whatever the daughter's name would be, I saw her today, very. It's a veiled threat, and this is something that I said last night, and it's very very true. When you become involved with a narcissist, it's not over until they say it's over. In their mind, it is not over until they say it's over, or until they're, you know, in a shallow grave or deep grave, whatever. Um, and that's the unsettling part is to ever be truly free of a narcissist. You basically have to go into a witness protection program, or you have to kill them. No lie. And um, you said that you carry a pistol, Elaine. Very
Mm-hmm.
good. Uh, for those of you listening, if women listening, if you suspect that you're with a narcissist, malignant narcissist, and they are violent to you, or they threaten you, or one of their favorite things is to threaten your children, to harm your children, to harm your pets, because they may not want to inflict harm on you right away, but by inflicting harm or mistreating your children or pets, they affect you even worse, and they love that. Um, if they threaten you, if they are physically abusive towards you, and they're threatening you, and you do pull a gun on them. My advice is to use it. Do not hesitate, because chances are, if you do, they're going to take it away from you, and they're going to use it on you.
Right.
And it's happened. So
Yeah. So it's, and thank goodness I have Bella, my dog, because she's a collie and she barks at everything. So it's, I'm glad I have her because she is a watchdog. So that's her breed of dog, is to watch the farm, watch the master, watch the, property and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I've always been taught that too. If you have to pull your gun on somebody, then you better be prepared to shoot. But besides that, whenever you're in a relationship with a narcissist, especially female, even a male too, you kind of get this victim attitude or this victim mentality, because you're kind of locked in. You kind of don't know what to do. You don't know where to go. You don't know who to talk to. You don't know who to trust. When you start preparing to leave the relationship, it's something completely different. But you want to do everything that you can to please them, and they are an abuser. I'll just come out and say that, because they're abusing you more emotionally, which to me is so much more just traumatic than physical.
absolutely.
Now, I mean, it's taken me a long time and a lot of reading my Bible, my spiritual warfare Bible, talking to my friends, pulling in my support people that I know are going to be there, my roots that I know are going to be there, talking with them about it, and of course the group and everything. And it's just because you've got to be able to rally your people that you can trust and that you know, in order to be able to get through this, in order to be able to move forward. But if you're in a relationship with somebody like that, definitely leave. It's the hardest thing that you'll do, because on one hand, in the back of your mind, you love them and you're hopeful, and everybody wants to love and be loved, but also that's your heart, but your head knows this isn't healthy, this isn't good. You are getting your life source fucked out of you, or sucked out of you. Sorry, excuse me. You don't have it anymore, and you become this other person that you're really not. And I look back then, and I think, oh my goodness, he was affecting my business. He was affecting me. He was affecting the relationship with my children. He was affecting relationship with my friends and stuff. And it's just like, I don't know what other words to say. I mean, they're just a horrible, horrible personality to be around and to be with. But you don't know until you're in it, which is bad. So that's why we want to talk about, how you can pick up on, the warning signs, and then also how to get out of it. And then also, I do want to add, there is a really bad mental health system, or not system, but crisis in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
As y'all know, my youngest son is a member of a rock band, and it is all over the music scene, this just depression. And I've never seen more suicidal people in my life. And, of course, they say, that through the lyrics and everything, you can express it and stuff like that. That's why my youngest son is about positive punk music, because, everybody, you always hear all this negativity and angst and everything. That's why he puts more of a positive spin on it. But it's important. It's important to identify who you're with. Is the relationship that you're in, is it going to uplift and support you, or is it going to bring you down? If it's going to bring you down in any fashion, you need to move on. Period. End of story.
Right. Absolutely.
And being with a narcissist has given me the strength. I'm lucky I came out of it as well as I did, but it has literally given me the strength and the introspection to identify and to be a stronger woman and a stronger person because of it. Because now, if there's any negativity at all, I'm like, okay, you need to explain yourself, and then they'll explain themselves, and then I'm like, okay, that's it, I'm done.
Well, what I find amusing, and I really do, is now when someone when some jerk tells Elaine, I don't know for a fact, but I do. I can just feel it when some jerk says, "Okay, Elaine, you're going to do this, or I'm going to leave." What happens? It's like, bye.
Bye.
To where before that, you would have probably been like, well, okay, I'll try it, But that's just it.
Exactly.
You cannot try to diplomacy does not work with a narcissist. They view it as weakness. That's what I've told Mona. Mona sometimes she says that I'm too violent tempered or whatever, but when I see the injustice, when I see someone that who can't defend themselves or are too afraid to defend themselves, and there's a bully that's just abusing them, nothing infuriates me more than that. And to be honest with you, I can get extremely violent, and old school, take care of business, but only when it's justified. And that, my friends, is what I consider it's justified to stop that abuse or whatever from taking place. And even with animals, that's something I can't stand, is to see someone beating an animal, and I'm not talking about just spanking or I'm talking about really abusing an animal. No, I'm not going to sit by, and that's just it. Too many people sit by and say, well, it's none of none of my business, or I don't want to get involved. Well, that person that is being abused, you may be their only, you may be their only hope. I mean, seriously. And there, there have been many times when there has been like a woman that has confronted a man abusing another woman or a child or something, and even with the narcissist, it somehow, because it's in public and they don't know this person, then it's different. They kind of snap back to the reality that their mask is starting to fall off, and so sometimes they click back to putting the mask back on and they stop, and that's just it. The narcissist hurts and abuses those who are closest to him behind closed doors in the darkness where nobody sees it. And then in the public eye, oh, he's the maybe a pastor, maybe a city councilman, maybe a doctor. I mean, and the truth is so many. There's more narcissists that are doctors. No offense, Nazarene, but there's more narcissists that are doctors than in any other profession. And I've met a few of them. They believe they're God, and it's crazy, but it is a growing problem. It is increasing, and something needs to be done about it. But you were talking about that dominant men, and like I said, a lot of men believe that to be dominant they must be abusive, and that's not the case. A lot of women, they think to be submissive is to put up with that abuse, and that's not right either. There should be the this is the way I see it. When a man is dominant, he provides the emotional support and the love that he provides what the woman needs, and he certainly doesn't abuse her. Instead, he cherishes her and loves her. But so many men now believe that just to tell their wife or the person they're dating that they love them is a sign of weakness, that many of them don't. And Randy, you said the other night that that your ex, that in the 3 years you were with him, that there was only one time that he told you that you looked cute when you were dressed up for his cousin's funeral, and that was the only compliment that he ever gave you. People like that, that's another sign, don't, who deserves to be in a relationship like that? It's not a relationship, it's a prison sentence. And it's insane. I mean, it really is. But like Lane said, they are so deceptive, and they almost used a form of neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. Look it up. You'd be amazed. You would be amazed at how there is such a thing as neuro-linguistic programming, how you form words, how you construct your sentences, how you speak, the tone you use. You are manipulating the other person, and they have no idea you are. And the narcissist, they have a form of of that very thing, and it is almost like if you become engaged with them in conversation, you've already lost. They're going to lead you where they want to lead you, and you're going to follow, not even realizing that you're following them. It's very, very it's frightening, actually. But there is also the problem of psychiatrists, psychologists have barely scratched the surface on the narcissistic mind, because think about it. How many narcissists will voluntarily participate in a psychological study? They're not going to, because they're perfect. You know, they're perfect. So think about that, and think about how much we do not know about them. And even if there are some who would say, okay, yeah, I'll do it. Do you honestly think that they would be honest? No. When they speak lies. It is almost like that they are. That the truth would infect them some way.
I mean, it really is like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde sort of thing.
Oh, absolutely.
It really is. Because they can be so sweet and so charming and give you everything and anything and show you a great time, and then and they do it slowly, but they start, you've got, it's always on you, it's always on the other person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've got work, or
the blame game.
Yeah, and it's like, no, and if you just left a relationship with a narcissist, there is hope out there. Always have hope.
That's right.
That you will find someone that is uplifting and that is, edifying you and the relationship, and I'm engaged in conversations with someone right now, and so far so good. Take it day by day, but personally, on my experiences, I always, no matter what relationship I'm in, whenever I end the relationship or he ends the relationship or whatever, or it just doesn't work out, I always go back to, and I'm a believer of God, I always go back to Proverbs 31, like I said the other night,
mm-hmm.
and I read in the Bible what it is that we are commanded to be a good woman. Because if I want to look for a real man, so to speak, I need to be a real woman, And so I think that that's really important. Because when you know yourself, and you start thinking, okay, well, I now I got to look out for a narcissist. Now I got to do this. And sometimes the focus is so outward that we forget who we truly are.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of need to step back, regroup, find ourselves again. And then once that happens and we feel whole, and our heart, mind, body, soul, and spirit are all connected, and we're all balanced, then we can go back out and we can start being hopeful, start looking if you want to look, or, I had given up. I was just like, I'm done. And then Shane and I had a conversation, and Shane was like, you just need to look in a different area than what you're looking in. And I was on dating sites. I got off all those and everything. I know we're kind of digressing, but I had gotten all off of everything except for Facebook, and I'm part of another different group. And there he was. He messaged me, and it's we're talking every day. So, we'll see. I'm hopeful, but it's just one of those things. But I'm glad. I'm sorry that the people had to go through what you had to go through. That was adversity, and trying. and you just feel like you're not worth anything anymore. I mean, I was so depressed after that relationship. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. And it really took a long time to get back to where I am now.
Well,
So,
one thing, that I have, said, and it's kind of a catchy little jingle. Um, it's not pretty, but it's, it's with the narcissist, you become a shell from the hell that they put you through. You become
yeah,
an empty shell because they've drained you.
yeah, he did.
hmm
He did on a multitude of levels,
And
and I really didn't realize it.
well,
That was it.
well, that's just it. They are so skilled, they're so evil that they have perfected the art of draining you while they're looking right into your face. I mean, and
Yeah,
and they're bleeding you out, and you don't know it. And you may be telling them how much you love them, how much you adore them, and that's just it. It means nothing to them. It means nothing to them at all. Um, but um, it's yes, Randy, hugs. Mm.
yeah. You're dumbfounded. I mean, it's like you're stunned, stupid. You're shook. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're just you don't know. I mean, you're just like, how could I have been duped? How could I? I mean, you turn this as with anything. You turn introspective, and you're like, how could I have? You know, what do they say? The wool sheep over the eyes, or
Right.
something,
Mm-hmm.
or the wool pulled over my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
How could it have happened?
Well,
How could I have been so blind?
well, it's not that you were blind. It is
They're
that
they're so good at what they do.
that the narcissist, um, it has been said that I mean, we all know people who are um, sensitive, who are empaths. Um, why do you think it is that the narcissist, that their number one target is the empath? It is. This is my belief, and agree with me if let me know what your thoughts are on this. The reason that they target empaths is because um, they are the same. They have the same ability to size someone up, to read someone, so to speak. But they are dark. They use it in a dark way. They use it to hurt people, to where most of us use it to help people. So that's why that they target people who have a high degree of empathy and who are sensitive, because they are the antithesis of just that. They have no sensitivity. Um, but they can size a person up. They can read a person. They read your body language. They read what you say, and most of the time, it winds up that they know you better than you know yourself. They know what you're going to do before you do. Most of the time, they know the choices that you're going to make, and so they would be excellent counselors if they cared about helping people instead of hurting people. But unfortunately, all they do is they just want to hurt people and sometimes kill people. But one thing is that they it's like I told Randy, you can watch. They can say everything they want to say. They can use their charisma and everything, but I can I can spot a narcissist a mile away. Like I told Randy, one thing that they do is, and they may not even know they're doing it, but they always make sure that they are looking down at you. They are always higher than you. They will never allow you to look down on them. Not even in a in a casual setting. It's they must sit higher than you. They must they must be they must be taller than you. It's you're
Walk
very
ahead
much
of you.
right. They walk ahead of you. It's like they don't walk beside you, and they certainly don't walk behind you. They walk ahead of you. Almost like that they're embarrassed to be with you, and it's they make in the beginning they make remarks, some hurtful, but then they follow it up by saying, "I'm just joking." Well, keep in mind with every joke, there's a little bit of truth, and with the narcissist, there's a lot of truth. They just don't want to scare you away right away, because they have to keep you so they can feed off of the torment that they inflict on you. And what happens is they become both your tormentor and your comforter, because they isolate you from everyone, and they become your one and only. And they're you could look at it like they're your angel and they're your demon. They're your God and they're your devil. Literally, I mean, it is, and that tends to twist and fracture your mind, because they're so good at what they do. After they torture you, torment you, then they comfort you in such a way that you're actually believing, okay, it's going to be good from now on. And they're taking great joy in this, in leading you on. And but this is once again, this is the connection that's been found between narcissism and sadism. If a person is sadistic, it literally means that they derive gratification from punishing, harming, being cruel, and abusing others. There's one thing that you said about him was that he owned two businesses. Well, there's many bosses, many managers, many bosses, many people that own companies that are sadistic narcissists, and they treat their employees horrible. I mean, really bad. And it's they punish employees in ways that make no sense, and most of the time it is humiliation and degradation in front of other employees, in front of other coworkers or whatever. And unfortunately, in the United States, there are no laws, believe it or not, against doing that, against bosses humiliating or emotionally abusing their employees, and I find that very, very unsettling. I was really shocked when I read that, but it is true. They can pretty much do what they want to torment you and cause you pain and suffering. So It's it's really really something. They are like young children um, whose emotional needs aren't met, or they feel like that they're being ignored, and so they act out. But the only thing is they're in an adult body, and when they have power, even a little bit, look out, because it's like a little kid with a machine gun. I mean, they're going to um, get even. I mean, they're going to, and not only even, they're going to go overboard, and that's. But they appear one way on one day, and the next day they're completely opposite. So it's like you're with one person, and then you wake up the next day and you're with somebody else. And
Yeah,
so,
mine would be really, really ugly to me, really accusatory. And then he would ghost me. I call it zombieing because, like, ghost, they kind of, ghosting is a relatively new term, but person would just leave and not ever come back. Well, he was a zombie because he would leave and then he would show back up 2 weeks later
mm-hmm.
and act like nothing had happened at all.
Right.
And I'm like, well, wait a minute. We need to finish this discussion that happened 2 weeks ago,
This is the same guy that hired the private investigator to find out you were cheating on him, but yet he
Yeah.
can go off for 2 weeks when you're together, and
Yeah.
and it's completely fine. That's just it. It is not. You are not in a relationship as an equal. You're a slave.
Mm-mm. Well, you're a piece of property.
You have no rights.
That's just it.
And
And I would say, why are you treating me like this? And he would be like, well, you're my woman. Or he would say, well, you're part of my swag, or you're part of my team, or you're part of, And I'm like, what? No, I'm a queen.
yeah. And when they say that,
And then,
it's so demeaning, or it should be, because what you're my woman, really. Well, and this is insane, but there have been men that have tattooed on their spouse or their girlfriend or whatever their name and property, so and so's property, and other things that I won't mention. But it's like, wow, you really take this serious. I mean, like, she is your property. I mean, like, real, like you can, like, it's unbelievable. I mean, I can't even comprehend it.
yeah, I mean, it's just how it is. I mean, when you're in a relationship like that, it's just, he would come in and he would just be, this is how it is, and I'm going to take care of you, but take care of me how? He never took care of me.
Right.
Instead of giving me grief, giving me heartache, crying constantly, being depressed, not wanting to socialize with anybody because I felt wrong. I felt, I felt embarrassed, So I had to swallow my pride, swallow my ego, fix it for me to be able to be healthy again, to be able to be one again with myself. But you go back and, like I said, you're retrospective, and you go back and you look, you're like, oh, that's not me at all. And that's what I said before. You kind of fall into this victim syndrome. I forget what it's called, where you fall in love with your kidnapper or whatever. What is that called? You know what I'm talking about? There's
Yeah.
a name for it,
Yeah,
but
I've got it on the tip of my tongue. Patty Hearst, the
right.
when she was kidnapped. Um, yes.
And they do kind of brainwash you.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean,
They
they do
do.
brainwash you to where you think it's all about it's your
Stockholm
fault.
syndrome. Stockholm syndrome. Thank you, Randy.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
one thing that you said, Randy, you've had customers, previous jobs, that would say, "I need to talk to the wife, not my wife." The wife, that
Yeah,
just always bothered me. Yeah, me too. Or I need to talk to my old lady, and it'd be like, okay. Or I need to talk to my old man. It'd be like, really? I mean, um, and that's just, I mean, that's a term that um, that that a lot of people use. I've heard, but you would be so sickened by, um, and Jacob, I think you back me up on this. When men get together and they talk about their wives or girlfriends or whatever, and it's like when it's just the guys, um, man, I've I've heard it all, and I've been like, okay, are you serious? Because she like worships the ground you walk on, and you're and you're talking about her like this. I mean, you are revealing things about her that would absolutely kill her if she knew that you were talking like this, you know. And I don't care. Um, yeah, yeah, you know, I don't care. Um, she's just one of many, man. And I'll be a really, yeah, yeah, man. It's no problem to have a girlfriend on the side, girlfriends on the side. And, well, I think it is because um, really, if you can do that, then why can't she? Well, it's different. It's different. And I've even had guys tell me, and not to get graphic or anything, um, um, but this is actually an excuse. This is how they justify it. This is how far they go in justifying it. Um, I've had guys tell me, well, um, it's okay for a guy to cheat, but it's not okay for a woman to cheat. Why not? Well, because they come home with with um, with it in them to where a man doesn't. And I'm like, yeah,
Huh?
about that, I'm not buying it. That is, are you serious? Yeah, yeah. Because with with us men, guys talking to you, some guys. I mean, I've had like two guys tell me this. See, yeah, because we don't come home with, you know what I'm talking about, with it in us, but they do. And I'm like, objection, Your Honor, because what about coming home with gonorrhea and syphilis in you, um, and or AIDS or HIV? Don't you think that's don't you think that's a little bit uh, you know it's good for the goose is good for the gander, but they don't see it that way. And so what happens? They say that, well, uh, you're just you're just not you're just not part of the boys. You're just not part of the guys. I'm like, hell no, and I don't want to be. Uh, yeah, or they come home with it on them. Yeah, um, and but that's how they justify what they do, and how they justify um, that if they do it, their wife or their girlfriend better not do it because of that reason. And it's like, that's insane. That's crazy. But hey, um, I've had very close friends that I don't talk to anymore because I got sick and tired of watching them be with several women, and I'm talking like in a weekend, be with like three different women, and I'm talking, no, talking there was no protection, anything, and then they go home to their wife, whom I was, friends with and cared about, and it's like she just, did you have a good time? Well, yeah, and yeah, they were off, said they were off doing something, or we were off doing something, or whatever, and it's like then she's just so in love with him, and then what happens? Then he, I would say make love to his wife, but he's not making love to her. He's using her, and he's taking the chance of giving her an STD or HIV or AIDS. But does it matter to him? No, it doesn't matter to him. It's almost like he would say she deserved it, and but she, the woman usually they only see the good, and I've seen women who were told by anonymous people. Okay, well sometimes it was me. I can say that now, but even other people would call and say, your husband's truck is at such and such club or whatever, and he's in there with a woman. If you go there now, you can catch it. And she would say, no, that's not his truck. You see, denial, because deep down she knows if she went, she would catch him, and she loves him so much that she would rather deny it than to face the truth. And that's the problem. He knows that, which is why he does what he does. Now tell me if that's not sad.
Well, if I could interject, my mom used to always say something. She would say, you know what, it's one thing to suspect, but it's another thing to confirm.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's always how it's always stuck with me, because, now in relationships, I don't go looking for anything. I don't look in their phone. I don't look in their emails. The email was one of the ways that I found out that my second husband was cheating on me with someone.
Mm.
And my first husband, the boy's dad, he cheated on me as well. And for a long time, I thought that it was me. And, throughout the years, I know that it's more or less them. Now, there was other circumstances involving both separately and stuff like that. But I told the boy's dad, I said, you know what? If you think her grass is greener, just go right ahead and mow it.
Right.
I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't going to put up with it.
Watch out for the gophers.
Huh?
I said, watch out for the gophers.
Yeah. So it's just, but I was going to say something else about, being with a narcissist is, it's still, it takes so long to get over if you ever get over them. To me, there's triggers in our minds that something will set it off, and all of a sudden you'll be depressed. And like we mentioned earlier, I have a lot of light in me, emanating from me, if you look at my pictures and stuff. And they're very drawn to that, like a moth to a flame. Mm-hmm. And I just remembered something whenever you were talking a few minutes ago. I had asked him very early on, right after we first met, I said, well, what are your businesses? And one was a construction cleaning company. And then the other one was, he said, well, I'm in the business I'm in the people business. I should have just saw that as a red flag, but I didn't. And, but going back, it's like now I look at it and I'm like, yeah, that was a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're hopeful, so it's like you don't see these red flags, you know? Like I think Jacob mentioned earlier, it's kind of like you got blinders on, you know?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So.
And, well, it's kind of like you got blinders on, but try this. It's more like they have created this false reality
Yeah.
that they suck you into, and literally, and you
Yeah.
see, you feel, you experience what they want you to, and
Exactly.
and that's why that with some people that it is, some people I've talked to, and it's really sad, but I I've told them, and I have given them proof, boom, 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 it's this, it's that, you know, like if there's 12 traits, or if there's 20 traits, and the person they're with, you know, they might meet 19 of them, and they're like, well, they don't meet all of them. It's like, well, yeah, well, uh, they, that's 99%, is, it's close enough to 100 for me. I mean, can't you see? But that's just it. They see what the narcissist wants them to see. They don't see, even if, like you said, it's like brainwashing. Even if you held up a picture, say, of them in the act of cheating, it's like they would be looking at a blank picture. It's almost like they're hypnotized. And one thing, can you say mind control? And seriously, I am not, it would not surprise me if there was some form of hypnotism that takes place between the narcissist and the victim, because it's very much like like it says in the Bible. Says when the serpent deceived Eve. Okay, that word deceived. Well, the word serpent in the Hebrew, it means it's nakash, which means whisperer. It actually means enchanter. And so and last night there was a question that was online that I found. It said, is the narcissist the devil incarnate? Well, they've got a lot of striking similarities. I mean, and but when you read that, as soon as Eve began talking to the serpent, she was gone. And that's all the narcissist needs is for you to say, what was that? Or what did you say? If they can engage you, they have you.
Right.
And it's if and they're very skilled at what they do. They don't push all your buttons like a crazy person would. But they know what buttons to push to elicit your deepest, darkest hurts and fears.
Yeah, they pick and choose, and they know how to ask the right questions
Mm-hmm.
in order to gain the most information from you.
That's right.
And disguise it as something completely different.
And that's what I say to you people. I have had people, before I met Mona, I was talking to, a lot of women online, and I could not believe how much information that they would give me. Like, the first time we would chat or whatever, it would be like, and I would tell them, do you realize that what you're doing, because you don't, here's me, the always trying to be helpful, probably ran more women away than it, they, you didn't think, oh wow, this guy's a nice guy. They're like, well, this guy's a weirdo. But I'm like, do you realize how much information you gave me? I could, if I was a bad guy, I could do just about anything I wanted with what you just gave me. And Randy, something that you brought up that you never put, Saliano's picture online, Venus picture online. That's great, because there's a lot of women that would send me pictures of them with their kids. And they would tell me where they lived, like the town they lived in or whatever. And I would say, do you realize that there are narcissistic pedophiles? I mean, or just pedophiles for that reason. I said, do you realize that there's a lot of pedophiles that would print that or save those pictures? And I said, and come to your town or whatever, and that would that and tell me their children's names. Yeah, how stupid. I mean, that's willfully stupid, because the pedophile's gonna, call their name. Hey, I know your mother. Yeah, and blah blah blah, or I'm your relative or something, and boom, that child's gone. But it's insane. It is insane. And what it boils down to, I'm convinced of this, is that some women and men, for that matter, this is both. This is about equal. They are so desperate to have someone to love them, to have someone to care about them, that they pull out all the stops, and they want that so bad that they take those chances. And I'm saying, never be desperate. Never do that. It's horrible. And with the narcissist, it's even worse, because they have no conscience. They're incapable of loving, caring. So narcissist women, there have been cases where they have become involved with men by willfully allowing the men to have sex with their daughters, and young daughters, and that is, that's, or women who are so desperate to have someone in their life that they succumb to, the narcissist pressure. Hey, I want more than just you. I want this too. And the woman says, okay, if you'll just be with me. I mean, look it up, and you'll see women who are, who are in prison right now for that. Crazy, just crazy. But there's no limits. I mean, um, Jacob, you said going through hell makes some of us better people and completely breaks some folks. Those of us that make it through are stronger, smarter, and more empathetic to those around us. Absolutely. I mean, yes. And one thing that I told Nazreen is once you go through it, you are stronger, you're more aware, and you're loaded for bear because you know what to look for, and you hopefully, people that have been through it, they don't make the same mistake twice. Um, but to be honest with you, at this time, um, this day and age, I would really, really hate to be dating just because of this problem.
Amen.
Just because of this problem. Because they're so damn good. They're so convincing. And trust me, I've been through it myself. It's like, wow, I had no idea. And I went through all of it. I felt so stupid. I felt violated, which I was violated. I mean, it's like, wow, this woman comes into my life, and I think that she's all meek and mild, and good God, she was barroom Sally from hell, and I had no idea. It's like, oh, you didn't tell me your porn star name. I mean, I'm like, good grief, what, what kind of lottery in hell did I win? Man, it's crazy. And then I'm beating myself up because it's like, how could I have been so stupid? And it's not that I was stupid. It's just that I had never experienced that level of deception, that level of cruelty, that level of heartlessness and usage, I guess you could say. And one thing is that she moved in with me. Let me tell you, that didn't last long. Moved in with me, and it was about 2 weeks after she moved in with me. She went to a job interview at 11 a.m. and she called me and she said they want me to learn the computer programs and this and that. Well, that was about 2 or 3 o'clock, and she says, but I'll be home, 5 or 6. Well, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock gets there, and she's not there. I hadn't heard from her. So I call her, and she said that sorry that they went to the, it was supposedly this couple that owned this company, and they took her to their house to, because they had better computer programs there, files there, that they wanted her to learn, and she dropped her phone in the toilet, believe it or not. And I'm like, I'm not buying this, but I didn't tell her. And so midnight, she calls and she says that she's on her way, and I said, what is taking you so long, And she's like, don't start with me. I've had a bad day. And see, that's what they do. They turn, they twist. They do the spin. They spin it
They
back.
flip it.
Yeah, they flip it back on you.
And they gaslight you.
But I wasn't having any of it. I said, no. This is not the way it works. I said, and so she says, well, what happened is I lost my phone. I said, boy, your phone's been through hell tonight, hasn't it? Yes, it has. And she's really not quite comprehending that I've reached the point to where I no longer give a damn. And she finally gets there, and she comes in, and I can tell that, yeah, it was all lies and everything. And so can just, tell. And later it was confirmed. But, this is me. I took all of her clothes, threw them out into threw them outside, and all of her stuff. I told her to get her stuff and to call her mother to come get her, and she did. And I said, "Now you got everything right?" She said, "Yes." And I said, "Leave and never come back." I said, "Never want to see you again." So she did. Then she called me about a week later, and she said, "I left a lot of clothes at your place," and she says, "I need to come back and get them, or would you bring them to me?" And I said, "Absolutely not." I said, "I'm not." I said, "You lost them." So I took them to Goodwill, and hopefully there was a lot of people that benefited from that. That's something else they'll do, is they will purposefully leave something behind, or they will keep things of yours so they can call you later or contact you later and say that they need to come get something they left behind, or they need to bring you something that's yours. Don't fall for it. But later on, her mother called me and told me things even worse that I had no idea. And she told me that that every time that she was supposedly at a job interview or whatever, that she was running around, with other guys. And she said, she told me, she said, "I told her," she said, "he is a good guy." And she said, "And you are ruining a good thing." And she said that her daughter told her, says, "Well, so what?" Said, "Doesn't matter." She said, "There's been plenty of guys that have done the same thing to me." What kind of mindset is that? I mean, but it's so it's not just women who suffer from this. It's men do too. And if you have, don't feel bad. Don't beat yourself up, because nobody's immune from it. But there's
Well, speaking of the dating world, there's definitely, being back in it again for about 5 years now. It's been surprising to me that there's less quality and more quantity. And
right.
on one hand, that's really sad. I would get asked all the time when I was on dating sites, "What is a girl like you doing on here? What's wrong with you? Do you need a man?" And I would say, "No, I want one. I want to share my life with somebody. I can run everything efficiently, and I can stand on my own 2 feet, but I don't need a man. I want one." And they would take offense to that. And it's like, no, you need to be as strong as me or stronger in order for this to work. And there would be times that just, you have hope, I have hope, and then it just wouldn't come to fruition.
No.
Or like Mona and I discussed years and years and years, since we've been friends for 20 years, it's like, well, he didn't cut it, no, or they would say that they're one type, and then I would end up being so much stronger than they were. And like I've told different
And
people,
they couldn't handle that.
stuff like that. No, they couldn't handle that. They couldn't. It's my plight, if you call it that. Dating is, they chase the girl, they get the girl, and then it's like, okay, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know what to do.
Right, and that's just it. Just like Randy was talking about the guy who was talking about all these girls and stuff, that the narcissist will sit, and I've called a few of them out because I can't stand to hear somebody bragging, and they're like,
Right.
I am, I am so good in bed. I mean, I'm just, man, you Casanova, learn from me. It's like, wow, this guy, something else. And so they're, talking, they're bragging on themselves and everything. And so sometimes when I've heard enough of it, I'll say something like, wow, I mean, it's just, maybe you can help me with this. I mean, I'm kind of confused because if you were that good in bed and, things like that, why are you doing all the talking and your wife is silent? And they're like,
Thank you.
oh, who let him in? And it'd be like, why don't we
Right.
talk to her? I mean, why don't we get her perspective on this? Because if you were that good and, I mean, oh man, I think she would at least be nodding her head in agreement, but I don't see her even doing that. And they'd be like, okay, we need to change the subject. Be like, well, I mean, I'm just telling the truth. I mean, yeah, let's discuss that, and but that's just how they
Well, and
roll. I mean,
yeah, and part of that is, luckily, well, not luckily, but, the narc that I was with, he was single. He was divorced. But there's a lot of times where I have been approached by married men or men who say that they've been separated. And I tell them no. I immediately tell them no. Leave me alone. Go the other way. Block. Do whatever I have to do. Because I'm not going to be a part of how I was treated. I'm not going to be that third wheel. I'm not going to be that other person.
right.
I'm not going to be that other person that's going to bring down that other relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just going back to him, to the narc. He just, it was just, like you said, I mean, he had his posse, and I could just see him going back to his posse and just going, yeah, man, I got my girl, she's doing this and she's doing that, and she's just waiting in the wings, and, he said one time, there was a friend of his that I had been introduced to, and I said, well, how is this friend? And he said, oh, he's good. He said, he asked about you. He asked if that girl was still hanging around. I floored me. I was like, really? Uh-huh. Okay.
Now,
I'm done.
Now, he said what now? He said,
his friend told him, hey, how's that girl? Is she still hanging around you?
mm-hmm.
Like I was just groupie or whatever.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And that's
And I just hope that my experiences, really help other people. I hope that they realize that, one, they're not alone. Two, I've been through almost every single scenario, circumstance that anybody could have ever been through in life, period.
Well, that's true. Personal experience is very powerful.
But yeah, and now I'm positive again. So yay, positive mental attitude.
I know, and it shows. I'm very, very glad. I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy. But
I'm back.
yeah, you are back.
And I think that's great, Jacob, that you turned to your music. And I think it's great that you were able to put your emotions and your thoughts into lyrics and then able to freely express yourself. I think that's great.
That's absolutely right, because especially after you've been through this or any kind of abuse, the best thing that you can do is to
feed your soul.
Yeah, feed your soul and become, let your artistic, creative talents or your creative side flow, and stay busy, and it really helps the healing process, very much. But we're we'll take a quick break and be back in 3 minutes. So enjoy this song, and we'll be right back.
I could feel it in my bones. There was something going on. That shade of doubt hanging around. Got old. 'Cause darling, there is nothing right when all you seem to do is lie. Those days are gone. I'm walking tall while you're alone. When I think about the way we used to be, when I think about the things you took from me, I know that I am so much better, better. When I look at what I've done now that we're apart, when I look at what I've won, I've come so far. I know I'm so much better. And baby, you don't belong. Your love was cold, heart made of stone. But I'm just fine, I'm gonna shine. I'm alright, alright, alright. I'm celebrating my liberation. I'm moving strong, I'm moving on. I'm alright, alright, alright. Might be shaken but not stirred. Just a lesson that I've learned. And so it goes. Tables turn and you're on your own. When I think about the way we used to be, when I think about the things you took from me, I know that I am so much better, better. When I look at what I've done now that we're apart, when I look at what I've won, I've come so far. I know I'm so much better. And baby, you don't belong. When I look at what I've done now that we're apart, when I look at what I've won, I've come so far. I know I'm so much better. And baby, you don't belong.
Okay, and we're back. Yes, Jacob, you were talking about truth. The truth will set you free. The truth you know will set you free. Uh, oh, you're welcome, Elaine. Thank you for sharing your stories, your personal experiences, and yes, thank you for being here and sharing what you did. I know that it's painful, but it's definitely going to help someone. I'm certain of that. But that's. But so many people say that the truth will set you free. Well, if you don't know that truth, then it's not going to set you free. And one thing that I was talking about as far as denial, a long time ago, I would do that, would deny certain things because it was easier, and now I face it. My theory is that the best way around something is through it, just straight through it. No running, no tiptoeing through the tulips, no trying to avoid it. That just wastes time. The best thing is to just go through it, and that's kind of straightforward, and leaves no. It's certainly not comfortable, but one thing that it does is it gives you experience. And is it scary? Yes, it's scary. It's not pleasant, but it does give you that experience, and experience is the best teacher. So that's my belief, and I'm sticking to it. But
well, I know that if I could interject
sure,
here,
go
if you
ahead.
don't mind.
Go ahead.
I know that in my studies, whenever you come to a wall in your life, you have the choice either to go over it, go around it, go under it, but God is just going to put that wall back in front of you again,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to take it apart brick by brick, and you got to deal with brick by brick, and you got to understand it. First, you have to accept it, then you have to understand it, and then you learn, grow, and develop yourself into somebody who can, when you come to the next wall, be able to take it apart quicker and be able to keep moving forward. Because that's the only way that you're going to move forward in life.
Absolutely.
Because if you go back and you look and you say, okay, why have you given me another Achilles problem? I already dealt with one. What did I not learn the first time? And it's like, okay, what am I supposed to learn this time?
That's a great
And
analogy.
a friend of mine was like, maybe it's not about you. She's kind of slapped me upside the head and said, maybe it's not about you. Maybe it's about other people around you.
Well,
And then I was like, oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's wow. I'm
And that's just part of showing the people, showing that you got to have people around you, like Mona and you, and people in the group, and other friends that are gonna have a different perspective, are gonna look at it completely different, because you're in it, you're in the middle of it, so you don't see it from the outside.
right.
Because you're smack dab in the middle of it. And it's good to have friends and, of course, the Bible and things like that. And, to say, hey, this is how we're going to deal with it, But, like, with this Achilles thing, because I was kind of having a pity party for a little bit. And because it's taking forever to get over, and now they're not wanting to do what they're supposed to be doing. But anyway, like I've shared with you, but, it's like I was able to take care of my aunt. I was able to build a relationship with God. I was able to build a relationship with my friends and family. He showed me who my friends and family were that would really stick by me.
Mm-hmm.
I got to spend time with my granddaughters and with my children. I got to help Hunter with his band. I got to, help other people that needed help. And then I'm, writing my book and stuff like that. So it's exactly, Jacob. Jacob said, unfortunately, most people cannot actually deal with it. They want honesty, except when it's about them, and then they don't want to hear it.
That's true. Absolutely.
And he says also, complete honesty isn't how it's always been the best policy. Absolutely. I posted in the room about transparency and disclosure. There's something to be said about it.
Oh, man.
And I learned that a long time ago.
Y'all are all hitting man, you're just like reading my mind, because truth is paramount. I mean, it's just, truth leads to trust. And in any relationship, when you find that the person you're with has breached that trust or broken that trust, listen. People say, well, we can. You can you can get the trust back. No, you can't. You may get trust back, but you won't get the same level of trust. There will always be that question, that suspicion in the back of your mind. I don't care who you are, and those that say that they don't have it, well, I don't believe them, because once trust is broken, it's just, it is that precious. But on the flip side of that, if you do have trust as your foundation, your relationship is headed for greatness. I mean, yeah, the people that break trust, break hearts and destroy lives. It's just very sad. And with the narcissist, that's their pastime. I mean, Brandy, you say, I really appreciate sharing our battle stories with each other. It helps me feel not so alone. Absolutely. I felt like I was hogging the chat the other night. No, not ever. And I haven't even scraped the surface of the hell I dealt with. But I think I was meant to see that post I did. It makes more sense as to why he contacted me after all these years. Randy, if you don't mind, I would like to read that post to those that are here now that missed it. And you can kind of set it up if you want to, or just to make it short. Randy was with a malignant, sadistic narcissist, just a very, very, violent, cruel, unbelievable guy. I mean, you want to talk about a monster. I mean, this guy is a monster. He did everything to torment her, and even to the point to where she got in her car to escape, and he comes running up and runs his fist through her car window and hits her in the face. And she said that he screamed, "I am the devil," and she said that his eyes turned black, literally turned black. Okay, well that is what I'm saying. That leads me to what I'm saying, is that it is not curable, it's not treatable by therapy or medication, because it's not physical, it's spiritual. That's what I believe. It is spiritual. And to prove my point, this is the message, the plea that Randy's ex, the woman or the victim that he got with after Randy, this was the post that she made, and Randy contacted me about a week ago, and she said she was having a panic attack or about to have one, because this jerk had contacted her after 10 years under a fake name, but it was his picture, and wanting to be friends. And I told Randy then, I said, it's either, it's most likely because he has lost his, victim. I said, and he's looking for an easy victim, Sometimes they get lazy. They don't want to go out and find a new victim. So they go back to their former victim. Randy, you said you dodged a bullet. I would say so. Listen to this post that this girl that this woman posted on Facebook that Randy sent to me. She says, "I just want to put out there that I have been with this man 10 years. I've had 2 children with this man. I have loved and cared for this man. There's a lot of ups and downs and many in-betweens that I won't explain. But I was just in a car accident, and he has not been up to see me, and it has now been 2 weeks. This is the time I need him the most, starting a new strategy to moving forward. No, he's already out getting high and seeing other women. I thought things were going good and that finally answers to my prayers were coming true. He is a liar, a manipulator, and a user. Let me tell you, his actions are evident enough of disrespectful and purposeful, unspeakable, harmful results. He commented that he wished I would have died. Who the hell does that? Now I must be willing to let him go. Best wishes. Can't be around someone that holds me down and is not willing to change." And that's it. So, that is, that very well is where Randy would have been had she have stayed with this this monster. And I feel sorry for this woman. It's just really, really horrible. But Randy sent me a picture of this creature. I'm not going to say this guy, this man, because he's not. But one thing that Randy and I both agreed on is I have always commented on since I do the other show, the Texorcist, dealing with people that are suffering from the demonic and that they always have this signature trademark smirk, this grin, and their eyes are basically dead. They just but it is very much the smirk is them. It's the pride. It is to me. It is that spirit, that evil spirit. And I don't mean to sound religious or I'm just coming to you in truth. That smirk is saying, I'm here and I'm controlling this person and I'm not leaving. And when you look into their eyes, their eyes are open, they're walking around, but nobody's home. That person has checked out. It's what the famous, well, not famous, but he was well known exorcist Malachi Martin called perfect possession. It's where the person has invited and takes great pleasure in being possessed. And the look on Brandy's ex, on his face, his eyes are just dead, lifeless, and that grin is there. He's so proud. Yes, I definitely believe that if there is any cure for the narcissist, that it would be spiritual in nature and not any kind of medicine or therapy, because that's already been proven ineffective. So What are your thoughts on that? Those of you listening by, chat and, what do you think about that, Elaine?
Well, I think that definitely there's a dark entity that either has attached themselves to that person. Because even in the pictures that he sent me, he's kind of staring off in the distance, kind of like forlorn.
Whoa. Just 1 second. Excuse me, I'm sorry. But Randy, I just have to say this. Randy told me the other night, I think it was last night or not before last, on the podcast, that every time that he would kiss her, that she would open her eyes and his eyes would be open and he would be looking at something or someone that wasn't there behind her. Wow.
Yeah, that was kind of, I read that, and that was kind of freaky.
Yeah.
But I totally get it. I totally understand it.
Ooh.
Because it's like they have a capacity to look through you, although they're looking at you. But I think it's the dark entity that is trying to look at the light and to trying to figure out who we are and what we're about.
Right.
And it's trying to see that glimmer, that glimpse, that, and why they have like this morbid curiosity about us. And they want to know what we're doing and who we're with and who our friends are and why are we friends with them or why are we like the way that we are. I mean, they have this crazy just curiosity about us. Why are we so filled with light? Where's our darkness, so to speak?
Right.
And it's like, and I always learned a long time ago to pray prayer of protection around myself, around my animals, around my extended family that's not around me every day, in my house. And I've always held on to that, even when I'm out and about. And even around him, I would find myself praying my prayer of protection, which to me was a red flag that was saying, okay, something's wrong here. But it's just, I think that it's important to identify those things and to always listen to your intuition. And if something doesn't feel right, it's not right.
That's
and
right.
As hard it is and as negative as it is and how just depressing as it is, you have to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
You have to break ties completely, and you have to move forward. And a part of my healing process over this past year, actually, and I'm a believer of God. God has closed, and I mentioned this to Mona the other day. God has closed so many open doors, and has tied up so many loose ends. And I just wasn't aware before. I wasn't aware of the signs.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand about the kissing with the eyes open. And it's kind of like, they say the eyes are the windows to the soul.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand about, having that person look through you, behind you. And it's creepy, and you're just like, okay, because it kind of catches you off guard, and they want that. They want you to be unsettled.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want you to be comfortable. They don't want you to be, and they use that moment when you're completely open with the other individual, and especially tying it in with sex. They want to do the tender things and sex with you, and they want to bond with you in kissing and touching and the actual physicality of sex.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't, when it comes to love,
there's no commitment.
They're not there.
Yeah, they're
it's not loving.
They it's a false it's a false pretense, because they are never going to commit to anything. And it's just superficial. They don't mean it. It's just it's just physical, and that's all it is.
Yeah, like Jacob said earlier, I think it was Jacob that said earlier, they tell you what you want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm like him. I'm a firm believer. I talk my talk, but I walk my walk. And I want my person that I'm with to do the same. And, it's that's what it's about. Now, other things, business-wise, and, in his world, he did that. He talked his talk and walked his walk. With me, he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He would tell me he loved me because he knew that that's what I wanted. I wanted to be in a relationship where I was loved and where I could love back.
Well,
so
one thing is that his career was where he was for him, because
right.
he was making money for him, and
Yes.
that's just that's a huge thing, because if it's anything for them, then they're going to be committed to it, and
Yeah.
they're going to stick to it.
And that's why he only came around every 2 to 3 weeks. He would have business dealings that he would have to go off and fly to whatever city. And I truly believed he was living 2 lives. I truly believe that.
Some do.
That, and I was just, whenever I would tell him, I am not a matter of convenience girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
I am a wow woman. I am a woman of worth.
Mm-hmm.
I am a queen. And of course he would say, yeah, you're a queen, all right. But it was, there's a way, to me, it's like we focus so much negativity in life.
Mm-hmm.
It's thrown at us. A child, the other day I was reading an article about how children by the age of 4, and I have twin 4-year-old grandchildren, they're told 50,000 times no by the age of 4. It just floors me. And to sit here and to think, all this negativity that we have in the world, and we're speaking of really negative narcissists because we went through these traumatic experiences, and I'm kind of a more positive person. So, yeah, I went through the negativity and I went through all the horrible experiences and everything, but I make a conscious choice now to view it as a positive experience, that I learned from it, because that's what God wanted me to do. He wants me to grow and learn and develop into a better person out of the negativity, and I have to view it that way.
Right.
Because if not, I'll lose myself again.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to do that. I did not want to become a bitter, middle-aged woman. And through everything that's been going on in my life, it was just like that narcissist was topping on the cake. And it was like,
right.
Okay, now I can see everything more clearly, but I choose to see the positivity. Yeah, I went through this. Yeah, I survived. Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I can talk to other people about it. Yeah, I'm a fighter. Yeah, I'm stronger because of it. And it's not to brag or anything like that. It's to say, hey, these are my experiences. I want you to learn from my experiences. And I'm at a place where I can. And just like we're talking, like Randy's talking and Jacob's talking about the experiences that they came through.
Mm-hmm.
You really do come out on the other side a lot stronger. And, yeah, like Jacob said, that's how they serve their master, whether they consciously know it or not. Mm-hmm. They serve the father of all deception. Well, yeah, absolutely. Or they are the father of deception.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the narcissists are just,
they're the children
they are
of
very,
deception.
very good.
Children of darkness.
And this person had all of my qualifiers, what I call qualifiers for people, for single people looking for other persons. He was smart. He was intelligent. He was good looking. He had sports cars. I know it's materialistic, but, he had a certain standard that I liked. And God has opened my eyes now that it's not about the material things. You're not going to have them whenever you pass on. And
Right.
it's about the person themselves and the experiences that the person has gone through versus having material things and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But with a narcissist, that was part of him. That was him. That was his sports cars and the money and the businesses and his posse and how he dressed, how he looked, how he acted, the people he surrounded him with. It was all very attractive to me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
that was just
they
pulling
are.
me in even more.
They are very,
Charismatic.
yeah, charismatic. They're very, like you said, they're dreamy. I mean, it's like your dream come true, and that's something that I always say is, if you're looking for someone and you find perfection, run, because something's wrong. Something is wrong when it's perfect. And it's like people say, well, I feel like I'm in a dream, or I found my soulmate. Everything's perfect. I'm like, whoa. Um, there was a woman that I talked to. She was seeing this new guy, and I just looked at him, and I could just tell, guy's a total narc. I mean, total narcissist, and bad, bad, sadistic, and so I contacted her just out of the blue, and I told her, I said, I saw your picture, of your new boyfriend or whatever, and I said, do you really know that much about him? She says, oh yes. She said he's great. I mean, we are meant to be. And I said, how do you know that? I said, have you met him in person yet? Well, no, but I'm going to. And I said, well, and I could tell right away that, of course, I told her a lot more things, and I could tell that she was starting to become angry or to become upset with me, because it's like I was crashing her party. I was raining on her parade, and it's like she was basically telling me, I have searched for love my entire life, and now that I found it, I'm not going to allow you or anyone else to ruin what my true love. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that's a point I'd like to make, is we've all been there, and I can tell you now that when someone is in a new relationship and they're infatuated and they're in lust, you could say, you are not going to do anything by trying to drill into their head that they're with a bad person, because they're never going to see it. They're going to see you as the bad guy. So my advice would be to just be there when they fall, because she fell. He trampled her like nobody's business. I suppose there wasn't much said about it, but she was just broken afterwards, and she, never said anything to me about it because it was too embarrassing. It's like, why didn't I listen to you? Which is, we've all been there, and but this guy, much like Randy's ex, this guy was what I would refer to as a child of the darkness. I mean, you could just see it in him, just big time, and all she could see was hearts and butterflies, and and I could see like demons and devils and hellfire, and like, Whoa, tread lightly, my dear, because this guy is going to eat you for lunch, and also she she had children, and that's something that every mother needs to take into account is when you have children, especially daughters, and you're taking a chance with a narcissist or you're staying with one. Do not think that 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 if the thought crosses their mind um, to molest or rape your daughter, don't think that they won't do it, because I can't say it enough. They have no conscience, and they could really care less about consequences. Some of them, and I think that's a very, very it's a very big risk to take. Um, so if you think that you're with one or whatever, please keep a watchful eye on your children, because you never know. You never ever know. Uh, yes, Randy, I know you would kill them, and yep, and I would be right there with you. So,
And I'd be getting bail money for both of y'all.
yeah. Well, actually, it's well,
Yeah,
it's
you know
like
what I mean.
it's like I would be like very discreet about it. um,
Drag them across the door frame.
right. Yeah,
Make sure they're in the house.
he just ran in here, and I was cleaning my gun at the same time, and wow, just
Yeah.
went off and went
Just
off like
impaled himself on it.
yeah, went off 8 times. I don't know what happened. uh, but anyway,
But I will say the topic of online is that, and I do meet quite a few people online, and the gentleman that I'm talking with now, we're both online, or he's online, and of course I'm online for him, and we're 5,000 miles apart. So it really is getting to know one another on a different level. And with that said, it's like, you can have great communication, you can have great online, you can have great phone, great emails, text messages, you can have great video conferencing, chatting, Skype, whatever. And thank goodness for WhatsApp because it's free. But, you can spend time with this individual and get to know them from the inside out. And a lot of it is just asking the right questions. What's your love language? What's your anger level? Will you take love language tests? Will you take personality profile tests? Will you take, MBTI, personality profile, for young? Will you take these things? And, and surprisingly, he had already done most of them, so he already knew, the answers. And so far, we're compatible. But there's nothing like being in the presence of the other individual.
right, absolutely right.
Nothing.
One thing, Elaine. Please don't hate me for this, but
No, I know.
but it's they're most narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, or whatever. They've they're they're so intelligent, super intelligent, and and adaptable. They can adapt to any environment. They can be in a new place, and in 10 minutes they know it like the back of their hand. I mean, it's like they blend in, and most of them have they view any kind of test as a threat. So and I'm not saying
he doesn't.
I'm not saying the guy that you're talking to is, but for those of you out there that when you have guys that say, well, I've taken these tests and I'll I'll take tests, with you or, while you watch. Just keep in mind that they know how to answer the
Yeah.
questions to where they can be a raving lunatic or they can be a saint. They can be whatever they want
Right.
to be, and it's and that's scary. I mean, it's really scary that there's no they've they've had done CAT scans and of brain scans and everything, and there's nothing that's really abnormal about their brains, and nothing that's it's not hormones, it's not genetic, it's just they you know I guess you could say bad seed. That would certainly be a good definition because it seems like that
Yeah.
they are bad from conception, which is which is which is really. I mean, it sounds horrible for me to say that, but it's the truth. I mean, it's like as soon as they were conceived. I mean, oof, look out. And but what's the question that I have, and there's been many people that have, supposedly answered it, but only the narcissist could answer it, and you know, they're uh, they're not going to be truthful about anything, so who knows? But I would really like to know the truth. Do they know? Do they realize how evil their actions really are? Or are they completely oblivious to it? Do they really know just how destructive um, their actions are? And like I said last night, the malignant narcissist. They've been known to talk their partner into committing suicide, and when they do, there's been a few that's even admitted that it was the greatest power trip that they've ever had, and they were proud of it. So I think someone like that is, are they clinically insane? No. Are they insane? I believe that would be a good indication. They may not be clinically insane, but they are off. They are, you know, they're gone.
Yeah, and like with anything with mental health, I think that there's varying levels, meaning that, in the beginning, I don't think that these individuals really understood who or what they were in the beginning. I think that they've developed into, their narcissistic behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they've honed it. I think that
Definitely.
the persons who are cognitive of it, I think they really have honed it into those evil entities that you're talking about.
Good point.
I think that if you look at the individual that I was with,
mm-hmm.
10, 15 years from now, I wouldn't put it past him. I think he's going to grow into that, being that entity.
Wouldn't put it past him to
meaning to take it to a whole nother level.
Oh, exactly.
To take it to, yeah.
Because great point, Elaine, because that's the truth. They are always evolving. They are,
the more relationships
it's a metamorphosis.
That they're in. Go ahead.
It's a metamorphosis. They are continually evolving and honing their skills and becoming deeper and deeper, more and more evil and heartless. And you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think in the beginning they just, it starts out very young, in their 20s or so, and then as they reach, 30s and 40s, they're a different person. Of course, we all grow and develop, but they're a different person. And, this man, he was in his 50s, and I think that he was in mid-50s. And I think that he had already honed his skill. That's why he told me he was in the people business, because he could read people. He could understand where they came from, and he could figure them out. And once he figured you out, then he ran the ball with it. And that's where it gets scary, is because he's basically profiling you and grooming you into this individual and into the individual that he wants you to be. And whether that, you know, he wanted to know, what's the word, insecurities, and he wanted to know, believe it or not, allergies and things like that. And, you know, going back and looking back, he really was an evil person.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wasn't aware to it. And so that kind of still kind of throws me off kilter every now and then, because it's like, oh, how could I just not see any of this, you know? And it's like, oh, I can't believe it, you know? But then I have to change my mindset and then keep moving forward. But
Right.
I just think it, you know, it's just, I totally agree that they evolve into something more sinister.
They do.
It's probably a better word.
They do. Absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because it is, and we've not even talked about the sexual narcissist, but there you go. You can imagine the metamorphosis that or the how they evolve, and it is usually you start out with using, abusing, and then go into the very, very deep and dark things that there's many cases of different things. I mean, I won't go into them, but it's just really, really bad, because the narcissist is all for self-pleasure. So you take sex, which is something natural, something that is supposed to be beautiful, and what do? They corrupt it, and they take advantage of people who look at it as something beautiful. And I'm not saying being goody two shoes. I mean, I mean, we're all adults, and what I'm saying is they don't want to have fun. They don't want to experience pleasure. They want to experience power, and they use sex as a way to do that, or a person making themselves vulnerable for sex, and they take it, and oftentimes that's where the serial killers like Ted Bundy, and they were all about the sex, and Ted Bundy, I mean, the most famous serial killer, most notorious, most deceptive. I mean, this guy was the very definition of the malignant narcissist. And look at what he did. I mean, just total destruction. And as you said, Elaine, they evolve. Well, his last victim was a 12-year-old girl. So when even he at one point would not have, probably would not have stooped to that level, eventually he did, and that's horrible. I mean,
Well, and these men will go from relationship to relationship to relationship, and it'll, looking for women who sex is very bonding for a woman. I mean, that's been statistically shown, and for men too. I mean, y'all have emotions just like us. And, where it should be bonding in a beautiful, like you said, a beautiful experience, they treat it as an act of power and dominance.
Mm-hmm.
They will use verses in the Bible, submit unto your man,
Oh, yeah.
Although it's taken out of context, but they'll use that, or they'll come at it as a daddy, little girl aspect.
Right.
Well, don't you want to be a good girl for daddy? Or different whatever scenarios that they can think of to pull on your heartstrings and to combine that environment with the sexual act, with the bonding, with the love,
Mm-hmm.
or they may even just tell you to your face while they're having sex with you.
Right.
I love you,
Mm-hmm.
or, you're in a vulnerable emotional state, and this person is telling, this sexual, lack of a better word, deviant, is telling you, I love you in this vulnerable state that you're in, emotional state
Right.
that you're in, and then all of a sudden, you start attaching things to this person, and with the dopamine and with the serotonin
Right.
and everything going on,
Yes.
and you're in your mind, you're trying to create a beautiful environment over something that was not beautiful at all.
Right. And that is a very good point, because that confuses your mind against itself. I mean, it's wondering, hey, what's going on? Because you have the you have the fear, you have the fight or flight, but then you also have the pleasure principle, and your mind's wondering, okay, what do I do? Because I want to attack this person, but I'm also receiving pleasure. So it's very, very confusing. But make no mistake, that is part of brainwashing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that is
And they,
absolutely right, Nazreen. They say they love you when you give them what they want. Yeah, that's not real love, not at all.
no, but going back to, how they are, it's even there, you see glimpses of that dark entity,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just like, how could I be with this person? And then all of a sudden, everything, you're second guessing everything. And then even in the bedroom, where you shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, that's my zen zone, you
Right.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Peace, love, and harmony, especially in the bedroom. But you just, like Nazreen said, they say they love you. They're going to tell you what they think you want to hear.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
number one is with the and I'm just going to say this with when you are sexually active with your partner or the person you're with, and there has to be trust there, and the truth is you cannot trust the narcissist. So it is you taking a huge chance on being hurt, because they are going to, like Nazreen said, they say they love you when you give them what they want. If you don't give them what they want, they take it. A lot of them take it, and that's where you have rape. That's where you have horrible abuse, and it's just and you
well,
talk about evolving. Oh,
Well, it's going to consensuality.
Right.
It has to be, you have to consent to it.
Right.
And, your behaviors in the bedroom and what it involves.
Mm-hmm.
And no means no. And that's from the male, too.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could be doing something from a female perspective and the male doesn't like it.
Right.
And, you have to be respectful of one another. And there's no respect whenever
That's
you're
true.
dealing with
That's absolutely
narcissists.
true. There's, there's just no, they don't know what respect is. I mean, because respect is considering another person's feelings, and they don't have that. I mean, it's foreign.
They
to
want
them.
you to respect them.
Oh yeah.
They definitely want you to respect them and show respect in all things. And if you don't show an ounce, just a little ounce of any sort of noncompliance, I mean, if you're noncompliant at all, even in word or deed, they just run with it.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I've seen some. I've seen a few narcissists, and some were like really, really, really bad guys, and that would beat their girlfriends and stuff, and just think that they were entitled and to everything, and that they were superior to everyone. But I'm sorry, but it was hilarious every time that they would meet. Like, they would come across a true some guy that that the devil himself would not want to meet, and you know how that turned out. I mean, it would be like they would say something, or because they're so superior. And I've seen a few really, really. They were nice guys. I mean, they were my friends. Especially one. Was my friend. But this one guy that was like beating his girlfriend and everything, or had beaten his girlfriend. He walked up to this guy and said her mom called me and said that you had thrown her a beating. And he says, yeah, I did. He said she deserved it. And he slapped this dude right in the face, just slapped him in front of everybody. And wow. I mean, just boom, just right out of the blue, slapped this narcissistic, abuser. And what happened was the guy went down to his knees, holding his face and crying like a little girl. And I'm thinking, justice served. I mean, that was better than anything, than any therapy. I mean, honestly. But that's just it. Is when they're all big and powerful when they're behind closed doors with their woman, or their slave rather, and doing all this stuff and everything. They're superior. But in public, I have noticed so many of them, they know just like a dog knows, or like a wild animal knows. They know who they can growl at, and they know who not to growl at, and they abide by that. It's like they're not fearless. And so many of the women with these jerks, they think that they're invincible, that they're fearless, when it's just the opposite. They're really scared of everybody, and they have to put on this show and wear this mask that they're not scared, and of course somebody that's being abused, they're going to believe, they're powerful and strong and this and that. So it's just really, really really a sad situation, and I'm very, very sorry to, or I regret. It just makes me sad that it's growing, that it's spreading more and more, and not sure why that is, but it definitely is. He said, 20 years ago it was like 3% of the population, and then 3%, and then 10 years ago it was like 6, and now it's believed to be at 9 or 10. So it's it's tripling. It's really something to think about what it's going to be like in 15 years, 20 years, from now. So, but anyway, do you have any closing thoughts, Jacob, Randy, Lane? We're closing in on 2 a.m. So if you do, please share.
I just, whenever someone is having an emotional day, it's so easy for us to become recluse and, kind of wallow in it. I always try to reach out to my friends or my family or whatever, and, I have bouts of depression. I went through really bad depression end of September, 1st of October. And, I came out of it because of my friends. But I would tell my friends, hey, I'm feeling really depressed.
Yeah, you sure did.
And they're like, okay, what can we do? And I'm like, I don't know if there's anything you can do.
I'm glad you did, too.
But I'm at this point. Just support me. If I need to cry, I'm going to cry.
Absolutely. Well, that's a great point, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I have people that say, well, I would have messaged you or I would have called you, but I didn't want to bother you. And I'm like, what bothers me is you didn't call. That's what bothers me. You're not going to bother me by calling me, by contacting me when you're depressed or you need to talk.
At any time, day or night.
Right, day or night.
Technology. Technology today, you can send a person a text message and they'll get it when they get it.
Right.
But at least reach out to someone else. And even if you see there was an incident, I'm not going to bring up names, but there was an incident where someone was talking online about suicide
mm-hmm.
and about mental health and about they weren't in a really good place. They
mm-hmm.
they projected themselves that they were not in a good place. And I reached out to Shane and I was like, hey, this person is saying some things that you might want to look into, since we all knew this individual.
And that's great.
And so he did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of what being a family is, having our backs with one another
mm-hmm.
and, making sure that we're all, getting better, supportive, and we don't have egos that get in the way and, and being prideful or, things like that. So if you are having a bad day, the best thing that I can say is reach out to your support, be it friends, family, whoever, and let them know. And especially if you're in a relationship, like I'll go to Shane sometimes and I'll say, hey, I met this individual. What do you think about this, this, and this? And, sure, you're going to make your own decision, but it's still nice to get an outside opinion about it.
Absolutely.
And, and then just keep moving forward.
4 eyes are better than 2.
Absolutely.
And that's what I've always said. Perspective. I mean, the more the merrier. The more people that you trust, that you can talk to and get their perspective. Don't be thin-skinned. I mean, it's just like, people, they say, tell me what you think about this person. I'm like, okay, well, that you asked me, so, and you know me, and there's been some where I've told them, I said, no, I no, I this bad, this is not a good person, in my opinion, this is a bad, this would be a mistake, and some have listened and some haven't, but those that haven't usually say, I wish I'd have listened. And but most of the time I knew beforehand that they weren't going to listen, but you know I was glad that they asked me, what I thought. And but the there's so many women, so many men that have been through this, and they come out of it, and yes, they're strong, they're stronger, and they're more aware, but they're also isolated to some degree because of it. And deep down, they believe that there's no good men or good women left. That's not true. There are. It's like I told Elaine. If you're not finding the person that's right for you, then do the exact opposite of what you're currently doing. Because when you think about it, what you're currently doing, how's that working for you? When you go...
Yeah, that wasn't working out.
when you go time and 3 or 4 times in a row and you're just picking losers, I say do the exact opposite. I mean, just do a 180, do the exact opposite, and I promise you, most of the time you're going to find who you're looking for by doing that. But it's that humans are creatures of habit, and so somewhere down the line we get in the habit of choosing or having that mental desire or that person that we build up, and if they don't meet this criteria, if they don't meet that, then we find ourselves looking for that person with those traits or similar traits, and even though they're bad and detrimental to us, and like I always say, patterns never lie. So if you find yourself in that pattern, in that cycle, over and over and over, do exactly the opposite of what you've been doing and see how that works for you.
Yeah, and about 2 weeks later, my son and I had that same conversation, and he was just like, Mom, look at your personality, and then look to see who you're most compatible with, and look for those characteristics, which I hadn't done before. And sure enough, met this individual. So, I thought that was pretty interesting. You stop looking, and that's what had happened. I just stopped looking and got off all, I was only on 2 dating sites, but got off the dating sites, focused on myself, had a conversation with Shane, had a conversation with my son, and then about 2 weeks later, here was this person. And it was like, wow. And that person, I would have never even considered that person 8 months ago. Would not have ever.
And that just, that makes me so happy, because if you remember, I told you, I said, and look for, I said, go to places, get involved with activities and stuff where there are guys that you would never be attracted to, or you think you'd never be attracted to, and just start talking to them. And because what happens is that guys, They put they've we've been hurt too, and so they put up walls, they put up barriers, and they some people might say, well, like so and so's a nerd, or so and so's a geek, or so and so's old fashioned or weird or whatever, or they're this or they're that. Well, no, that's when you first meet someone, it's like Chris Rock said, you're not meeting that person, you're meeting their representative, or better yet, I'll say, you're meeting their barrier, you're meeting their guard. Is who you're meeting, whether it's the macho BS, or it's the goody two shoes, or whatever, or this or that. You are meeting their barrier, and what you have to do is, and this goes for for men and women alike, you have to take the time to I guess earn the rite of passage to that person, to who they really are, and I guess say that it's to their spirit, to who they truly are, and
access granted.
there you go, and and then you're in, and it's like wow, this person is beautiful, and what is amazing, it's just like Elaine said, 8 months ago she would not have been attracted to this guy, but it's like when your spirit resonates with their spirit, you actually see that person in a totally different way, and you see the beauty, and you see and there's a mutual attraction there. It's not just a one way. It's not just that you're attracted to them and they're not attracted to you. That's never going to work. There's a mutual attraction there, and that, my friends, is the holy grail of relationships, is when you meet that person who loves and adores you as much as you love and adore them. So.
And what was the most interesting, I know we're running over, but what was
That's
most
fine.
interesting was hearing his story and hearing his journey and the journey that he's been on, and how it is completely different than the journey that I've been on, but there's similarities within both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to see that.
One thing is truth. You both are being truthful with each other.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah. That is huge, because absolutely. And when you meet someone who does not does not admit that they have flaws, and that they've made mistakes, and they're playing the blame game, you always hear, I've been married 4 times or 5 times, and all those women did me wrong. I'm not buying it. Not one bit. Come on. I've been married 3 times, and I'll tell you now, I've never cheated. I'm not a cheater. I cannot stand that. But some of it was my fault. It was not all their fault, and I take full responsibility for that. It's the person that you have to watch out for, is those who play that total blame game, where they are not guilty of anything, and that is not true with anyone.
Right.
We're all guilty of something. So
Well, like he told me his story, and he was like, "Hello," and I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "You're still here?" I said, "Yeah," and he's like, "All right then."
That's great.
So I told him mine, and he was like, "Wow." I mean, he was just, yeah,
And you're thinking the same
it's
thing,
crazy,
probably.
huh?
I said, and you're probably
Yeah, I
thinking
was
the
like,
same thing.
go ahead.
No, no, no. I was
Well,
done.
I mean, he was just, I was like, "Oh, you're here?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm here." I was like,
Right.
"Oh, okay, great." So I was like, "Woo!" Now we got that out of the way.
And one other thing is find someone that's not afraid to laugh. I mean, my God, a sense of humor goes so far. I mean, you have to have a sense of humor. Somebody that can laugh at
Right.
themselves, which the narcissist will never do.
No, not at all. And they don't like it. They don't want to see your happiness. You know, I mean, haters are going to hate, but it's like, and then when people are happy, like Randy is evidently happy, and and different people are happy, but it's like, why relish in their happiness? Happiness is a fleeting joy in life. I mean, life is too short.
Right.
You know,
Um,
that's why I make a conscious effort every day to be positive, not negative. And when I am negative, there's something wrong. you know.
Absolutely. Well, it's like, the only certain thing in life is uncertainty, and you, you just you acclimate to that, you adapt to it, and you go on. One thing, Randy, you said, Shane, that's why I came up with that saying I told you before, something about no one is as great and wonderful as Christian. It's not something I felt, but that's how he thought. I used to get excited and act silly in the toy section of Walmart or walking in the store, and he would tell me, "Oh my God, you're embarrassing me." Well, that's just it. Like you can look on my Facebook page, and Mona and I were both trying on goofy hats, and I think I won the contest. But that's another thing. I put that up, and of course, you see me that picture that I have of me with the candy corn teeth, and I put on there, cancel all the dental appointments today because we've got a winner here. The narcissist will never post any picture that does not have them at their best angle, that is flawless. I mean, it's just not going to happen. Because they can never be seen as anything but perfect. So so when someone sends you a friend request and all their pictures are look like studio pictures and they look like models, yeah, be leery of that. It's not a good sign. But I love to laugh. I love to joke around, and what I find so funny, so hilarious, is that I kind of have like a very dry sense of humor, and a lot of times I get in trouble because people think I'm serious, and, and it's like I have to have to catch them and say, "Hey, I was joking. I'm not really a jerk," or I'm not really calloused and insensitive. It's like it was a joke, and I'll be telling a lot of them, So, but those that can't laugh or have fun, you're never gonna have you're never gonna have a future with them. So, but let's see what you said. Randy, you say they didn't have those, but I probably would have. I wasn't worried about the lies, the unicorn head. See, I did learn something from my 8 or 9 required trips to rehab. Also, 10 years in AA. Yeah, Jacob. Well, that's 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 definitely learning experiences. And nobody's faulting you, about that. I mean, I actually admire you for that. A lot of people, they don't even go. Absolutely, growing and developing, man. Uh, and there's so many people that that should go, or should take part in some group like that, and it would do us all so it would benefit us all so much to take classes, or be in groups, whether they're online, or like your local group, that to learn something new, whether it be basket weaving, calligraphy, anything. I mean, or like
Rock painting.
yeah, rock painting, or classes on building your self-esteem. And even if the instructor or the class sucks and they don't know what they're talking about, you actually you can learn from their I don't know what you would say, their false teaching or whatever, or their misguided directions. You can learn from people's mistakes, but most of the time they're going to have some really good points, and mixed with points that aren't that good, but you still learn, and you'll meet people that feel the same way you do, maybe in the same circumstances that you're in, and that the key is to always be learning something new, and I think that that's very vital. And when you're with someone, that's the best thing you can do, is to do that with them, like these classes and stuff. If it's painting, finger painting, I mean, anything that you can do with them, it strengthens that bond, and let your defenses down, and I guess you would call it like something like seeing each other's purity, seeing each other's innocence, which is something that we all tend to hide, tend to guard, even with those closest to us. So that's just something that I wanted to add that would be very beneficial, I believe, to everyone. So, Jacob, you say whenever you go there, you are straight up from a sponsor. What he told me when I wanted to leave Kansas because everyone I knew drank, and I didn't think I could stay sober there. He was exactly correct. Yes. Surround yourself with people that that have a good influence on you. Don't think that you can get in the pigsty and remain clean. Nope, you're going to be wallowing in the mud with the pigs. It's just a fact. Sooner or later, it's going to happen. So, but anyway, well, we are at 3 hours 5 minutes. I believe it's going to call it a night, and this has been great. Thank you, Elaine, for being here and co-hosting, and I've really enjoyed it, and it's been great, and this has been the best, the last of this series. It's been the best one, and I think that we just wrapped it up about the dangers of the narcissist. So if any of you out there um, are in a narcissistic relationship and you want help, or you need to talk, you can reach me. You can reach us. You can reach me at with the show change. New email, Shane and Elaine podcast at gmail.com. And you can send me an email, and I will reply, get back to you as soon as possible. And just remember that that you deserve to be happy, you deserve to be loved, and you deserve to love. And anyway, having said that, love and light to you all. Love you all. Good night from Texas. We'll see you next time.